Today is May 11th, 2013, and we are interviewing Mr. Alvy Joe Burk, Joe Burk, at C.E. Brehm Public Library in Mount Vernon, Illinois. Mr. Mr. Burk was born on October 13, 1931. My name is Cheryl Walker. I'm with the Illinois State Library, and I will be interviewing Mr. Burk. Mr. Burk, for the record, could you state what war and branch of service you served in?
Served in Korea, regular Army in Korea,
Okay, and what was your last rank?
PFC.
Okay, and you were enlisted? You enlisted
Yes,
into the
ma'am.
Army?
17 years old
17 years old.
when I went in.
Okay, and your service dates, do you remember what they were?
Yes, June the 24th, 1949. September the 25th, 1951 when I was discharged.
What made you decide to enlist?
I had a brother that had went in a couple of years before I did. He was a couple of years older, so he went in a couple of years earlier, and I decided that was for me, so I went in.
Did he also enlist into the Army?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Where did you take your basic?
Camp Chaffee, Arkansas. Took 16 weeks. Most of them, there was 8, but for some reason when I got there, they decided to take 16, so I took 16 weeks basic there.
Do you remember the weather down there?
Hot. It was hot, very hot. Yes.
And was that the first time you were ever away from home?
Yes, it was. Very, very scary.
Were you homesick?
Yes, I was.
17 years old,
Yes.
first time.
Yes, being away.
Were you the baby, or how many brothers and sisters did you have?
I had one sister younger than me, but I was the youngest boy.
And then from Arkansas, Fort Chaffee, Arkansas, where did you take your advanced training?
Camp Hood, Texas. Well, it's Fort Hood now, but that was when I went. It was Camp Hood, Texas. In Texas is where I went.
And what did you take your advanced training in?
We was well, what I was a machine gunner. That's what we did. We went on maneuvers. Every week, I think I was there. We was on maneuvers doing something, and that's what I did all the time I was there.
Did you just have your training Monday through Friday?
And we had it all the time. We had training 7 days a week. Yeah, we sure did.
Did you have to get up early in the morning and go to bed early at night?
We got up early, probably a lot of times at 5 o'clock in the morning, and had breakfast, and we was out in the fields doing something, 7 or 8 o'clock. Get in at sometimes 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Of course, time to get in and eat dinner. It was bedtime. Sure was.
Were you ready for bed?
Well, yes, I was very tired, so I was ready.
Did you get to go on leave after your advanced training?
Before I went to Korea, I did get to go home for a couple weeks, I think it was.
Okay. Did you know that when did you know you were going to Korea?
Well, we started hearing about Korea, I guess as soon as it started, we started hearing about, of course you kept hearing saying, where we're going to go, we're going to go, we're going to go. And then one day they called us all together and said the ones that's going to Korea gets a 2 weeks leave. So you get to go home to be 2 weeks before you come back. And that's what we did.
So if you got 2 weeks, you knew you were going to Korea.
When I got the 2 weeks, I know we was going.
So how many, do you remember your group in Texas? Was half of you going to Korea, or? Uh,
Oh, no, not all of us. And what they did, they called, every barracks, I guess, was different. I don't know. But they called us all out, and when they called your name, you fell out. The ones that was going stayed out. The ones that went, getting back inside. And then that's when they took us in a little place and told us we could have a 2 weeks leave, kind of, because we was going to Korea.
for your 2 weeks leave, how did you get home?
Bus, Greyhound bus. Greyhound bus.
That was a long ride.
That was a long ride home and a long ride back, especially when you're thinking about going to Korea or someplace, that's all you think about, was,
What's going to happen?
yes, what's going to happen. That's right.
How did you get to Korea? Did you leave from Texas right away, and did you have to travel somewhere else?
We went, we had a troop train, went from there to San Francisco by troop train. We spent a couple of days there taking shots of all kinds, and then we flew to Tokyo, Japan. That's where we flew to. We never went by boat. We went by plane because they needed us and they wanted to get us in there fast. So that's what happened.
When you were on the troop train, was it just for the troops, or was it the general public and the troops?
It was for all the troops that was going to Korea. That's the ones that wrote it.
Okay. And how long did it take you to get to California?
Oh, I think it was just about 2 days to get to California from where we went.
And do you remember what kind of airplane you took over to Tokyo, Japan?
No, I have no idea. I know we stopped in Wake Island.
And where's Wake Island?
I don't have no idea, but we stopped in Wake Island for 3 or 4 hours, and that's where we had our meal, was right there in Wake Island, and then we went to Tokyo from there.
Okay. Did you sit in jump seats on the plane?
No, just regular seats.
So was it was it an army plane, or was it?
No, I don't think it was. I think it was just a regular plane. I don't think it was Air Force at all.
Okay.
Not that I remember it was, but
So when you got off of the plane in Tokyo, what did they do with you?
They took us to a place, and we stayed there 3 or 4 days. They gave us more shots. I tell you what, I guess because we was going over, we took shots for 2 or 3 days.
Did you get sick from any of those shots?
No. Never got sick of it. Of course, I've been healthy, I guess. Maybe the reason I never got sick, but it's never got shot.
Do you remember how many uniforms they gave you?
When I went over to Korea,
Mm-hmm.
1 uniform. That's all. The one I had on plus 1. 1 plus 1. It's kind of strange, isn't it?
What did you do?
When I got there, when we left Tokyo, we got on a boat, and we was on that boat, I don't know, maybe a day or a day and a half. I never was stationed in Korea. Any place I went, when we got there, we got off the boat, had some briefing on some stuff, and from there, we went to the front lines. Never made sense to me, but that's what we done. The whole thing we heard that they need us and they need us and they need us, and we were going to get there fast. So that's what happened.
So you really weren't worried about how many changes of clothes you had?
I wasn't worried about no clothes at all, no. I was worried more about eating than anything else. What we're going to eat, what we're going to eat.
What did you eat?
Oh, we never did have a good meal. Nothing. Just just what they brought in little containers and gave us, and that's what we ate.
And what was your favorite in those little containers?
I can tell you what my favorite was food cereal. They had cereal in them little cans. I hated that. They had fruit cocktail in a little can. Terrible stuff. I won't even eat it today.
So you won't eat fruit cocktail?
No, and it's got to be good. But they had those little cans, and that's all we had. I never had, all the time I was in Korea, I never had a warm meal.
You just ate the cans?
We ate, yes, that's right. We ate all that stuff. Different stuff that they gave us. Plenty of water. They'd fly that stuff in by helicopters, and that's what we got our food was from helicopters coming in.
How'd they get them down to you? How'd they get the food down to you?
They had one big old train. Well, it wasn't a train, a big old car-like thing that hauled it around to where we was. Of course, we was different places every time, so that's the way they brought it to us. Come down there and bring it to us. And sometimes we had to go get it, and sometimes it was, gosh, a mile or two from where we was at. But that's the way we got it.
And then did you take the stuff off and carry it with you?
Yes, we took it with us. Yes. Our back patches and stuff, we took that off and carried all that food with us because we never got it every day. We might have got it every 2 or 3 days.
So you just put it in your backpack and
Put it in
keep
your
it.
backpack, and when you got hungry, you ate. Because we had no place to live overnight, or nothing. We was just there.
Did you how did you open those cans?
With a little key, little army key. They gave you a little army key, which I've yet got. Just opens them right up, just like a little can opener. Well, you've probably seen them.
And that was issued to you?
That was issued to me, yes.
And did you eat right out of those cans?
Oh, yes.
And then you just tossed them?
Toss them away. There was a lot of them around.
Were they metal? Were the cans
Yes, they
metal?
was metal.
And did you have silverware?
Yeah, well, no, we always had a little spoon with us, But as far as good silverware, no. Anything we could eat with it, we ate with it.
Mm-hmm. So when you ate with the spoon, was it a tin spoon?
Yes, it was a little old tin like spoon.
And can you remember touching that spoon to your mouth?
No.
It didn't leave any feeling?
I don't think. I don't remember that anyway.
It was just getting the food into your mouth.
Just eating. That's what, you were so hungry you never cared what it tastes like. Just eat it.
What about the water? Was it fresh water? Was it?
They always brought in a big water tank, yes. And we always tried to keep our canteens full. Of course, it wasn't fresh every day, but it was drinkable anyway.
Did you have little pills or anything to put in the water to make sure it was?
Yes, we did. We did it sometimes. Sometimes we never.
How many canteens of water would you carry?
I carried 2. A lot of people only had 1. Some people carried just many as they wanted. I carried 1, carried 2.
And did you have sleeping bags that you slept in?
Yes, we did. Of course, we never slept too much because we was always dug in foxholes, but we did have them started out. Of course, they got tossed away sooner or later. You never had them. You got lost or you left them or someplace.
Did you try not to carry too much?
That's
Did you
right.
try to lighten your load?
You carry to be less you wanted. That's what it says. Keep that load down. Because we was moving all the time.
What was the weather like?
Hot.
Did it rain a lot?
Well, it did rain. But I don't remember whether it rained every day, but it did rain, you know. But
Was it like monsoon weather over there, or?
oh, I don't think it was that bad when we was there, but it was. I know it was very hot, and well, then it was very dry, so it just rain and then it'd be dry.
How'd you keep in touch with your family?
I never.
You never kept in touch?
All the time I was in Korea, no.
They didn't have mail call for you?
Oh no. See, I don't think I was right in Korea in the fighting. I don't know how many days I was there.
So do you remember any place that you were? Did they say, we're here? They never
No.
told you where you were?
No. From the time we got there, I never had no idea where we was at.
How long were you overseas?
You mean just in Korea or overseas?
Overseas.
Probably 3 months, I would say. I'm not really positive on that because I don't know how many days I was in Korea. Because when I got back, I never knew nothing for quite a few days.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Do you still keep in touch with anybody?
That I was in there with, no. Most of the guys, well, there was a few of the guys that I knew that went with me, but after I got out, they was all gone, and none of them that I know who I was with.
Were you in any kind of battles or anything?
I was in battles about every day. Well, I guess you'd call them battles. There's always a lot of shooting and bombing and, you know, stuff like that all the time I was there. Because we could just get dug in and we'd be either going and, like I had one of the commanders said when we was there, he says, we go forward, we go backwards, we go right, and we go left. So that's every direction. Sometimes you can make it good for a day or two, then you wind up retreating for a day or two. So
Who did you take orders from? Did the sergeants give you orders, or did the lieutenants and?
most generally the sergeants gave us orders because he took them from his captain or lieutenants and told us when to jump and when to run.
So the sergeants were the ones that you got the orders from and you
Yes.
felt secure with.
Oh well, I mean, yes. Sometimes you did, sometimes you never. Just that's the way you go.
So you said that you dug foxholes.
Yeah.
Can you explain what a foxhole is?
Oh, that's just a little hole where you dig out and get down in where you can hide. You know, just 2 feet wide, 2 or 3 foot deep, just where you can get down in it and look out. Maybe put your machine gun up right outside of it. The rest of you down in the hole.
Did you ever sleep in them?
Oh yes. What sleeping you got, you did. That's where you slept mostly when you was sleeping, was in one of them foxholes you did.
What about baths? You didn't have showers, did you?
I never had showers. I don't think I had a bath all the time I was in Korea. If I did, I don't remember.
I bet that felt good when you got home.
It was good when you got home, when you know what it was. Yes, yes.
So you said you were over there for 3 months, and you were in Korea for 3 months.
Well, I don't say that I was in Korea 3 months. I was
overseas
3 months.
Overseas. Okay.
Yes.
And then you were in for 2 years.
Yes, a little over 2 years.
2 years.
Yes.
When you came back to the States, where did you go?
Well, now this is what they can't understand, and I can't understand. I was in Tokyo there. Of course, that all the time I was there, not all the time, but when I first started knowing where I was at, they was yet to give me blood. But anyway, in 3 or 4 weeks, they said, well, you're going home. But anyway, a bunch of us got on a plane, and I thought we was headed right straight for here, but we stopped in Tokyo. Excuse me, not in Tokyo. We stopped in Hawaii at Tripler General Hospital, and we was there a few days. Why, I don't know. But anyway.
And that was in Iowa?
No, that was in Hawaii.
Hawaii. Okay.
Yeah, Tripler General
Okay.
in Hawaii. And we was there for a few days. And then they said, well, we're going on. Well, the next stop, we went to Navy base, Great Lakes Navy base. Now, why we was in a Navy base for a while, I don't have no idea either. But we was in Great Lakes Navy base and we was there a few days. And then from there, we went to Camp Annaberry, Indiana. And that's where I got discharged, was in Camp Annaberry, Indiana.
So, how did they get you? Did you have to fly to all these places?
Yes, yeah, they flew us all these places, yes.
Okay. And did doctors check you out?
Oh, yes, they checked us every time we stopped, and pretty near every day you was looking at you or checking you for something.
And how many guys flew from Tokyo to
here
Hawaii? And
I would say it was probably 20 or 25. It wasn't full load, but there was a bunch of us.
And were they all from your company?
Oh no! In fact, I don't think I knew one of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know which one they was from, but I don't think I knew any of them.
So how did you get home from Indiana?
To Mount Vernon?
Mm-hmm.
Took a bus.
All by yourself?
All by myself. Of course, I would been there a while, and they gave me a convalescent leave, and I come home for, I don't know, a week or 10 days, and then I went back, and they was mumbling over what to do with me, and trying to get on disabilities, what they was trying to do, discharge me with some disability, and I think I got 3 convalescent leaves while I was in Camp Annaberry.
So you were there for quite a while.
Oh, yes. Yes, I was. I was at Camp Annaberry a good while.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, did you stay in the hospital all that time?
I could do anything I wanted to in a day. It wasn't pinned down for done. Run around, or just when they wanted to talk, you had to be sure you was available then. But of course, that was always, yeah.
Did your family come over and visit you?
No, they never did come. The second time I went back, I took my car with me where I could drive back and forth.
So you were able to.
I could
get
drive
around
and and see stuff, and then when I get to come home, I'd get in a old 39 Chevy and head for home.
Now, did you live in a barracks at that time?
We lived in the hospital. It was a hospital in Camp Annaberry.
Okay.
But
when you were discharged from the service, what did you do afterwards?
you mean when I got discharged?
Mm-hmm.
Came home, and the only thing I was interested in when I got home was getting a job, which it was very hard. Very, very hard to get a job. They told us it would be easy, but we found out when I got home it wasn't as easy as they said it was.
And why do you think that was?
I don't know. Maybe because I was too young, or maybe never had no experience. Because I was raised on the farm, and about the only thing I know was horses and cows and stuff. Of course, I met this little old gal, and that changed everything. So that made it better. you know. But I did get a job, worked for a couple of 3 years. But then I got a guy that I guess he liked me, so he put me to work, and I guess I worked for him 40 years.
Did you ever take advantage of any of the benefits, the veterans benefits?
I'm on, yes, I do. I get disability right now. I belong to the DAV here in Mount Vernon,
Mhm.
and they treat me very good. Well, I think they do. Some people say they don't, but I think they do.
Did you ever use like the GI Bill or um, the home?
No, ma'am, I never. I never really, when I really got a job, I really never needed anything. The guy that I had worked for, anytime I needed anything, he was right there.
Um, did you keep in contact with any of the guys that you were in the service with?
No, ma'am, I never did.
And did you ever go to any kind of reunion for your company?
Nope, I never did.
How do you think that you were treated after you got out of the service?
Well, when I first got out, I think I was treated very poorly. So when I first got discharged, I was supposed to got some kind of disability. I mean, percentage-wise, I have no idea. I know one time they thought I could get 30% of what they was going to do, but then when they called me back to Camp Atterbury, they couldn't give me 30%. So then I get to come home for a few days and went back. And the last thing they said was 10% that I would get. Well, when I finally got discharged and got home, that ended that disability. I never did get it. Of course, I was mad at him, and my mother and dad was mad, at him, and you just couldn't get nothing done. I don't know about anybody else, but when I did finally get on disability a few years ago, I've been treated very good. Can't complain at all. But at first it was bad. I don't know how it was with everybody else but me. It wasn't very good.
Did you carry anything with you for special good luck?
No, I never.
Did you take any pictures?
Over there, no.
So you served your time and
got out.
did your duty and got out.
Yes, ma'am. That's just exactly what I got.
Did you have any good memories about your time?
Well, it wasn't real good, but I never did have any. The only bad memories that I hated was when I was in Korea. But when I was, in Camp Chaffee, we worked hard and everything, but it was fun. Same way with when I was in Camp Hood, Texas. We worked very hard every day, put in a lot of hours, but that never bothered me.
Your time that you were in, your basic training and your advanced training, do you think that made you grow up?
Oh, yes, I do. Sure do. Yes.
And do you think that your military time, during that time, helped you make the person you are today?
Yes, I do. I really do. I believe that.
Would you, if you talk to a young person today and they said, I think I'm going into the military, what would you say to them?
I had that thing happen to a little guy not too long ago, and he had already had already joined the service, And he talked to me for a long time. And I told him, I said, why don't you, if you go in, why don't you stay in till you retire? And he said, I'd have to see how I like it. Well, he's been in, I think, 5 years now. And I understood the other day he signed up for another 3 years. So maybe he will. But he likes it. So maybe it helped him. I do think they treat you a lot better today in the service than they did when I first went in. That's just my opinion now, not anybody else's, but that's just my opinion.
When you say they treat you better today than they treat you back then, when you were in, what do you mean?
Well, I think, see, when I went in, we got very little pay. We could hardly do anything, but, and today they get paid pretty good. When they get ready to come home, most generally they can fly home. They got money to come home on for leave. And just different stuff. I mean, of course, I guess life is a little better today than it was then, so I think they just live better. And
Do you think they're respected better?
yes, I think they are. I sure do.
Is there anything that you'd like to add to your history?
No, they're not. I don't think so.
Okay. I would like to take the time to thank you for the time that you served our country, for the time that you gave to our country, and I would really like to thank you for the time you gave today
Yes.
and honored me with interviewing you.
Yes. Well, I want to thank you for being here to do it.
I appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.